Hello, welcome everyone to Conference Chat. I'm here today again with John Drinkwater, and today we're talking to you about the different stages of the conference. Hi, John.
Hello, Sonia. Lovely to be back again.
Lovely to have you back. So as I said, let's talk about stages. At the conference, we have something that is very different from last year. Last year, we had a one-screen adventure, whereas this year, we're going to have 4 simultaneous stages. How is that going to work? Particularly, how's that going to work from the audience's perspective?
Yes. Sorry, dear audience, you're going to have to be a bit more active this time. We have a selection of speakers and we spread them across multiple stages. So all the main things, the competitions and the main keynotes will be happening on the main stage. But we have 3 more stages available that will have a selection of speakers that will deliver content at the same time. So it will be like, if anyone can remember those days when we had a real auditorium and we had extra rooms on the side, and outside the main speeches, you were able to go to different rooms to see different people, to learn different things. That's what we're trying to bring back into the virtual world now, a selection of stages. And we're not using breakout rooms because, well, there's just too many people in the audience to deal with putting people into breakout rooms. So they will be separate Zoom events. So I'm afraid you'll have to leave one and then connect to the next one and listen, join into that one and then leave that one and then connect to the next one and just work your way through the 2 days, listening to whoever you want to. And yes, we will do our best to record everything that is on, so that those you miss or those where you've got a clash and you didn't know which one to go to, the recordings will be available later.
And having seen the draft agenda, I know that's going to be such an issue because the content that we have prepared is so good that it's going to be difficult to choose. But good to know that, Zoom allowing, as you were, tech allowing, will record those sessions. And as you were saying, so people, just like in the face-to-face conferences, they would go from one room and exit and enter a new one. So in our new worlds, they just click on another link, correct?
Yes, we'll have a range of links available to them, which will work during the day for the different events. So the main stage will have all the main big things and the main contests. And then during those other times when there are other speakers available, you'll be able to go over to the learning stage and get content there. You can go to the growing stage and learn content there. And then we have the inspiring stage and there'll be content there. And we think there will only be one version of the learning stage, the growing stage and the inspiring stage happening at any one time. But I say we think because it would be possible for us to run 2 inspiring stages at the same time. It's just planning wise, we don't expect to have that, but well, who knows?
And as you say, you'll be a click away. So for the audience perspective, from the audience's perspective, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah, just like you click to join a club meeting, you'll just click to join the stage, listen to the content. And to be honest, if you find that a speaker's not the same thing that you thought it was going to be, not as interesting as perhaps you thought there was another one you want to go to, you could leave one stage halfway through and go and join another. It won't affect the people on stage. It won't affect them. So if you drop out of one and go and then see another one, then that's totally up to you.
And I'm smiling because back in the day when we used to have in-people conferences, I would often do that. If I wasn't quite sure, I would stand at the back of a room. And this is the equivalent, isn't it? You just go in, check it out. If it wasn't quite right, you can step out.
Yes, definitely. I'm saying this not because I'm saying you're not going to enjoy the speakers. I'm saying this because I don't want you to feel that you go into one speaker and then you're tied down to being there. It doesn't matter. The technology doesn't mind, apart from one little incy-bincy factoid, which I should drop in. We can only take 1,000 people in the secondary stages. The main stage, we can hold about, I think we run out at 11,000, so we should be fine for that. But for the other stages, we are only limited to 1,000 people on each event.
So in other words, if you really are keen on a workshop, be sure you're ready and early.
Yeah, because if we're going to have, as we are guessing, we are hoping maybe 1,500 people, that means we couldn't get everybody into one of the other stages. But I'm hoping the speakers are not going to be so much that there'll be 1,100 people want to go to one speaker and only 3 people want to go to another. But you know, it depends. It really.
Let me take you back to a previous point you made, which I think is an important one: contests. So we have 4 contests, the 4 district finals. And am I right in thinking that whilst those are on, there is only the one main stage available?
Yes, we are not running anything while the main contests are on, apart from the main contests. Frankly, it's going to be hard enough running the main contest area. If we go for these 1,000 limit, we run out of space, and we have to use extra Zoom facilities to squeeze everybody in. So it's going to be an interesting challenge. And don't worry, I have some plans on how we can get that message out. But yeah, as soon as we go over 1,000 people, just like the worry I had last year, where we were 800-900, and I kept thinking, well, if we get another 100 people, we're going to be full. We will be full at 1,000 people for the main stage, but we have a secondary way of watching the main stage, so we're going to have effectively 2 Zoom ways of going in to watch the main stage. So if there are more people, then we just make the secondary stage, the backup to the main stage, live. And then, as long as you all guys all buy your tickets within about 3 or 4 days of the contest and not the night before, I can actually increase the capacity of that backup viewing area to 10,000 people.
So you're saying it to everyone watching, just bring your friends because we can accommodate.
I would love to turn around to Arno and Helena and say, guys, I'm sorry, we have just broken Zoom because we've got 12,000 people who want to watch. It would be possible for me to add another stage, but I think it would be quite amazing if I had to turn around to Arno and say, we haven't got enough room.
And whilst it is, and it is a challenge to say, but whilst it is kind of fantastic that the tech can work to suit, perhaps the message to mention here to the audience is, as far as the audience is concerned, they just click on the link, leave the tech, and then the magic happens in the background, as you were. So as far as you're concerned, you click a link, John will deal with the rest.
I'll find a way for you to watch it. Don't worry. We've got some, we will get you in there. And please remember that I run this two setup configuration. So you will be in an audience room for the contests, an audience room with just the audience. The contestants will be in a completely separate Zoom room running the contest under contest rules. What I mean by that is the contest rules mean that in the contest room, they won't be allowed to chat with each other because they could influence judges. They won't be allowed to have their videos on, except for the people who are speaking. They won't be allowed to have their audio on. These are rules set down by Toastmasters International. However, they only have one person watching them, me. And I promise I won't turn my video on while they're running their contest. But what I will do is I will then show you in the audience room what I'm watching.
Exactly.
And because I'm showing you, that means you can have your cameras on, you can chat as much as you like. We having the audio off, because obviously then you wouldn't, if everybody was chatting, you wouldn't hear the speakers. But if you want to have your cameras on, like lots of you did last year, and you want to wave and you want to send text messages to your friends while you're in the rooms, you can do that with a complete guarantee that anything you say or do cannot have any bearing upon the competition, because the judges and the contestants are in a completely separate Zoom space.
Thank you for that. Yeah, similar as last year, isn't it? But I remember last year, perhaps people didn't realize that was happening. And I remember some people were concerned that comments on the chat would influence the judges.
Yeah, and there were people saying, I can't see the judges. How can we start the contest? There's no judges here. And the answer was, no, they're not here. They're over there in another Zoom.
And it worked really well. So I'm really pleased that we continue with that. And it just gives the audience that freedom, knowing that they're not upsetting or interrupting or influencing the contest. Well, let's take us back to the stages, because we talked about how to move between the stages, etc. But I don't think we actually clearly said what they were. So do you mind just going through the themes of the 4 stages?
Okay. bearing in mind, I don't know who all the speakers are yet. So I don't know how they influence it. But the idea was that we had one stage about inspiring people. So inspirational speeches and content.
And that is the main stage.
Yeah, that's on the inspiring stage. Now I can tell you that I know one of the speakers, and I'm pretty sure that he's inspiring, but I don't know where he is on the agenda. But we have one guy. He's not even a Toastmaster. His name's Dan Egan, and he's a skier. But he's got a fascinating story about how communication, well, it's probably saved his life financially and physically.
Nice.
And I've already had the chance to sit down and have a 20-minute interview for him, which you should be able to find on the Speaker Tips channel, and I think it's linked in other places.
And yes, I remember him on the agenda. So I know our viewers haven't seen the agenda, but John and I had a sneak preview. And yes, he's one of our keynotes on the main stage.
But he's a great example of somebody who is going to give an inspiring speech. And yeah, there's lots of good stories on the inspiring stage. On the growing stage, we have things, well, we've got a bit of I don't know what you would call it, a little bit of a sidestep into the world of business and giving you an idea of what Toastmasters have done with these Toastmaster skills to take their lives, their business lives, to the next level. We don't tend to talk about our business so much in Toastmasters because we're learning speeches. But let's remember, we're learning to speak because we want to take those skills to influence people, to affect people, to improve our business, to communicate with people. And so on the growing stage, you'll find some really great stories about Toastmasters that have done that, and inspiring ways to tell you how you can do it as well. And again, I don't think she's on the growing stage exactly, but a good example of that would be Patricia.
Patricia Fripp, yes.
And well, I love her because she's a PowerPoint person. She's a presentation person. She's all about getting the presentation right. And I know a lot about her because, yes, she's also just been recently interviewed. So her story is out there as well, an introduction to what she did. And she is a great speaker for showing you how her presentation skills with Toastmasters background have made a great difference to her life.
Indeed, and her career has just been fantastic, from the UK to the US, and really a businesswoman.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking her. I promise you, I'm not knocking her when I say she started in hairdressing as a hairdressing reps, talking to people about the various products. But that was a selling job. It might not be the most glamorous of selling jobs, but it's still a selling job. Well, glamorous, I suppose it is. It's hair, isn't it? But you know what I mean? It's not as though you think you'd be a millionaire by doing some hair products.
And here she is.
And here she is, a few steps further up, takes her to the next level. And now she's a world-renowned presenter and speaker. And she gets paid, very, very large sums of money to teach executives to do the same skills.
Indeed, across a different array of sectors, really.
Yeah.
So I think you covered them all. So we've got the inspiring keynotes on the main stage. We got the learning workshops, the growing, and the inspiring ones.
Yeah, the learning stage is what you think it's going to be. It's how you learn and take your power of public speaking and make use of it.
I think people watching and listening to this will be thinking, how in the world am I going to choose? And do you have any tips?
Yeah, just don't worry. Don't worry. If you go in to see a speaker and it doesn't work for you, you can leave because you won't break the experience. Because everybody will carry on. It's not though you're in the front row of an auditorium and you stand up and get in everybody's way. If you disconnect your Zoom and you go to another Zoom event, no one's gonna see you. You're just gonna disappear off the video wall of people. It's no great shakes. But how do you get the right answer to going to the right room to start with? I don't know, but a couple of the guys have been working on a little app which we've got hold of, which takes you down like a question and answer pyramid to give you a suggestion of which stage might be applicable to what you want to learn.
Nice, so a little quiz so that people can well, they don't have to go with it, but I guess it gives them an idea of, based on those answers, where they should go.
What we wanted to do is we wanted a way that people could ask us where they want to go, and therefore we needed some sort of conversation, and we looked at messaging bots and things like that, and we've got this little app which is it's just a simple staged questionnaire. Ask your question, depending on that answer you go down a various paths or a tree, whatever you want to describe it, and then when you get to the very bottom there's a recommendation for which stage or stages we think would be of interest to you based on the answers you've given to the previous questions.
That sounds cool. And then of course people can make in their own minds, because as I say, we're going to share the agenda as well.
Yeah, as speakers are announced, obviously we'll be able to then release ideas about the speeches that they're giving, and that'll help people to decide again in detail what they think they want to do, where they want to go. And also I'm trying, but obviously time is hard to get these people and whatever, but some of them are recording teasers for us, so we're getting 30-second, 1 minute, 2 minute little teasers where they're just plugging their own speech. Really, that's what we want them to do. Tell us what's exciting about it, and give a little teaser to allow you to make a decision about which one you want to see. Some of the other speakers have been even more generous, and I've been able to sit down with them for 15-20 minutes or so and record a longer interview about their past and get a bit more background on them.
Fantastic. So perhaps that's a good way to end this, and just say to people watching and listening, do subscribe to our social channels, because as we announce speakers, as John was saying, you will see their teaser videos so you can see what they're going to talk about. And I love, John, that we also have the longer video clips so that people can really get to know the speaker before they see them on stage. Any final comments from you before we go?
Yes, because what I'm trying to do now is I'm now trying to persuade some of the speakers that can't make the main 2 days will make themselves available the week before. So we're going to have some extra speakers in the week before.
And is that live watching, or is that recordings that you'll make available?
I am hoping most of them will be live, but because of time zones and everything, we may have a few recorded. But I will be upfront if they're recorded at the time. I will let people know.
That sounds fantastic. So one more argument for getting the early bird tickets.
Please get the early bird tickets. Please. I would go on my knees, but I'll disappear off the camera. Please. There's a reason why we want you to get the early bird tickets. It's the cheapest way you'll ever get a ticket to Toastmasters District 91 online. There is a second reason why you want to get your early bird ticket. The earlier we get the tickets and we know how many people are coming, the more we can put into this conference. Remember, guys, we had to produce this online conference in less than 5 weeks last year. We've got way more than 5 weeks still to go. So it'd be really nice to know earlier so we can have things ready for you earlier. And the more people subscribe, the more.
Well, that sounds fantastic.
Yes,
if
and
I
those members
was
of
part
the
of
team
the
that did
team,
buy
I'll
an early
be
bird
buying my
ticket,
early bird
they'll
ticket
just have to
now.
turn up twice now, won't they?
Absolutely. Fantastic. Well, with that, thank you, John, yet again for taking us through these details. And thank you, everyone who's watching and listening in. This has been Conference Chat. We'll see you next time.